Hi, welcome to the Questionable Botanist. I'm Frank McDonough, your Questionable Botanist. I'm highly questionable. You can ask me questions anytime. In fact, that's what I do here at the Arboretum of Los Angeles County. I answer questions, plant questions, disease questions, that is diseases on plants. I don't do people. Insect questions, insects on plants, if they're just insects flying around. I don't know, maybe not. But I have over 30 years of horticultural and botanical experience, and they are yours for about 10 to 15 minutes, 4 o'clock from Tuesday to Friday. I'd like to apologize for being dark yesterday, but we had some technical problems that we're still kind of resolving. Hopefully we're resolving them even better as time goes on. It's our DSL line. It's just not the best DSL line in the world. It could be a lot better. Anyway, I have a few things today. It's going to be a short session today, but I do have a few interesting things to show you. I had one of these come in today. Look at that. And a lady brought these in and wanted to know what they were. She found these blooming along the trail to the Mount Lowe Observatory. If anybody's been up to the trail around the Mount Lowe Observatory, that's right at the top of the lake there. Beautiful area, just gorgeous. It's an old historic area where there used to be a train, a funicular, a hotel. All these things were up there that lasted maybe 20 years before fire and wind just nailed them. But it's a beautiful hike. About a 1,200-foot climb or something like that. But these are up there. Well, this is, and she's wondering if this is a native, by the way. Well, it's not. At first she thought it might have been a Matillaha poppy, but it's not big enough to be a Matillaha poppy. It's actually not a native. This is Cistus ladonifer. It's one of the rock roses. This one is called rock rose. And it grows in the Mediterranean area, climate much like ours, and it's fairly popular around here in low water use gardens, except for a couple of things. One, it's not a native, so people kind of look down on it. I would never look down on a plant because it's not a native. I might look down on a plant if it's invasive. I might look down on a plant if it's water hungry, but I would never look down just because it's not native. And it has a relatively short blooming period compared to other plants. It blooms mostly in the spring, around this time of year. And so, Southern Californians, we like plants that do a lot of blooming. Our plants have to work. They have to be showbiz plants. They have to do lots and lots of showy stuff. And, this one, you might get 2 blooms out of it, maybe one in the fall too, but, pretty short blooming period. So, not the best for the kind of space it occupies. It's a rather big plant, about 6 to 8 feet tall. Anyway, I like it. A gorgeous plant, and the Arboretum did fire tests on plants back in the 60s. This is after we had the Brentwood fire. It was the Brentwood Bel Air fire, and people were aware for the first time that these brush fires could be a real problem. And so there's a lot of interest in developing plants and finding out which plants were fireproof. Well, it turns out well-watered rock rose are very, very, I wouldn't say fireproof, but it's tough to get them lit. Now, the key is regularly watered or well-watered rock rose. A rock rose that is on the brink of death is going to be just as flammable as some other plants, but regular watering every couple of weeks on these, and you've got a pretty fireproof plant. Another thing I got in today, and this is still vexing me. One, look at that. That looks ugly, doesn't it? Look at the markings on that thing. This was a possible plant poisoning. Maybe. But looking at it, it doesn't look like it could be a plant poisoning, because if you look at the markings on there, the markings are quite irregular. So what I'm thinking on this one is hail and freezing rain, or hail and snow damage. This is from Pasadena. Pasadena did get hail and snow during the last set of storms that we had about a month and a half ago. And this is kind of consistent with more with frost and cold damage and hail damage than it would be with anything else. Although it's tough to say. I'm sending a picture of this to my friend Jerry Turney, who is a plant pathologist, just to be on the safe side and make sure this isn't a disease. But I'm kind of betting on maybe hail damage, freezing rain damage, or something similar to that. And what else do we have in the old bag of tricks? Actually, that's the most interesting stuff today. I told you it was going to be a short one. Thanks for watching The Questionable Botanist. We'll be here again tomorrow, or I'll be here again tomorrow at 4 o'clock with your gardening questions. So until then, goodbye and good gardens.